So you're not going to judge me when I get these words wrong,
No.
right?
I feel like thought it had high haze, huh? I guess.
Today's One Tank trip finds us in Detroit, doing the quintessential One Tank trip to go check out the Tigers. But first, we have a whole day full of adventures I can't wait to share. And our first stop today is, of course, for coffee, because no adventure is perfect unless it starts with coffee. So we are at Great Lakes Coffee Roasting Company. The Great Lakes Coffee Roasting Company was exactly what we needed. It's also what's known as a farm direct coffee shop. That means you know exactly where the beans come from and can identify the farms themselves, which cuts out the middlemen, pays the farmer better, which makes for better coffee in a lot of ways, which you know that I love. Julian and I planned the rest of the day and got ready for our first stop, which was the iconic Masonic Temple. Did I mention I loved the coffee? So I grabbed some to go. The thing about Detroit is if you're going to spend some time walking around, which I suggest you do, it's hard not to get caught up in the incredible architecture and want to capture some of it. So we spent some time kicking around Detroit, taking photo after photo. And then we thought we might want to see some proper artists, so we walked over to the Museum of Contemporary Art. Located in a former auto dealership, which seems perfect, MOCAD, or the Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit, sits between the Detroit Symphony Orchestra and the Detroit Institute of the Arts, acting as a hub of emerging ideas in the contemporary arts world. What we dug about the exhibits currently on display was not only how powerful they were, but how each one of them uses space in its own way. Some pieces are huge, and some sort of let the space envelop them. The other thing that makes MOCAD unique is that essentially it's two museums in one location, as behind the building, it's a replica of artist Mike Kelly's boyhood home, which is used as a very cool exhibit space. When we were there, it was the tail end of the dystopian sci-fi exhibit Brood that was calling this space home. And after the museum, it was time to check something off the bucket list. So if you're familiar with the city, you know exactly where we are right now, but you might not know exactly what we're about to do. We are at Bees in the D, more specifically the Shinola Hotel Hive location, with founder Brian Peterson-Roost, who is a 5th grade teacher during the year and all-around bee superhero every other hour of the day, letting us hang with the hive.
And so I'm gonna explain a little bit of what I'm seeing. This is a nice one because I've got all various stages of the bees. So I want you to focus on down in the cell. Do you see down way inside of some of these cells, there's a tiny little white, like almost looks like a U?
Yeah.
That's a larva.
And you might already know how incredibly important bees are, but seeing them up close gives you a new level of respect for these animals. So what are you seeing from here that shows it's slow?
Just not as many bees.
Got it.
And that's why I come in every couple of weeks just to check. Make sure that their population, because you can lose a queen.
And that's exactly what happened. So Brian asked me to help start a new queen, which meant, of course, I got to meet the queen from the hive next door. As you can imagine, this sort of transplanting can aggravate the bees, so it was time to finish up, get a quick bee selfie, and then Brian let us go by giving us each our own bottle of honey. My bottle was from the Downtown Boxing Gym Youth Program, and Julian's was from Young Blood Vineyard. And after that amazing experience, it was time for a beer. This entire trip, we've seen bees everywhere, a sign of good luck and prosperity. On the 60-plus rooftops in the city, carved into the side of the Masonic Temple, and here at Founders, their honey is in the beer. Specifically, a beer created with the Bees and the D crew to taste like peach cobbler. So I sat down with Gail, who's the beer supply coordinator, and Natalie, who's the head brewmaster at Founders Detroit, to find out about the tap room itself and what goes into those Detroit exclusive beers.
I've been with Founders since we opened this location in 2017.
So, one of the things that's always been interesting about Founders is no matter how much it scales, it still feels like a neighborhood bar, right? And here we are in the largest city in Michigan, and this does not feel like it's a large city bar that you're going to and no one will know your name. It's still got that kind of, I won't say the Cheers vibe, but it's got that Cheers vibe. And I wonder if you could maybe talk to how you guys can still keep that feel when we're on Woodward, in the heart of Detroit.
Right. We work really hard on that. I know that that's something that I really have to throw to our service staff. They're the ones that remembers everybody's names and their favorite drink or their favorite beer style.
So you are making some incredible beers, which I want to talk about. And specifically, I kind of want to get in your head about the Detroit exclusives, right? And how you build those things.
When I'm collaborating with other people, I really like to listen to what flavor ideas they have and get a broad sweeping sense of ingredients that they're interested in and kind of repurpose them and through a recipe program develop what my targets are.
And so as an artist who obviously has a background in science, that's how beer is made, but as an artist, do you have a sense of that when it goes out, or are you just like, I really enjoy this and I hope other people do, or you're like, no, this is an absolute home run, you have 90 minutes before we're out of this beer?
It's kind of a combination of both. It depends on what it is. There are certainly moments where, and a lot of this is coming from my artistic background, where I have an impression and I have an idea and I follow my intuition and I think that it turns out great, but I really do need feedback and response from my staff, and this is where I really lean on those around me, like Gail, to come into the brewery and taste what I have in process and give me their honest feedback. And like for me, critical feedback is the most important aspect of brewing an excellent product.
Natalie took us on a tour of the brewing facility, showing us some of the new brews she's working on that I was sworn to secrecy on. And then we sat down to check out the new app they're using, called Sample Ox. And it allows me to rate beer on a deeper level, and that feedback goes directly to Founders in real time. So, I know I said this to you earlier, but of the ones I tried today, this one is my favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's probably one of the craziest beers I've ever tasted, I think, but I love it. I don't know what it is, right? I don't know what the style is, but it's amazing. Then it was Tigers time. Baseball in the summer evokes all sorts of emotions in most people. The field itself, the sounds, the crowd, and of course, the food. I need to be really clear on this. There's only one thing to eat at a ballpark. There's a very right answer, and it's not any of the suggestions that you've had. Like a hot dog? The answer is hot dog. Yes, that's absolutely the answer. And even after some late inning heroics, the Tigers still came up short. But we left the ballpark thinking we could not wait to get back here for another one-tank trip.